Let's start with chapter 1 of this new book that we just adopted. It's a brand new book. It's a pretty good book. As you can see, there are some sections that are called It's Your Turn or Your Turn. And those sections give you the opportunity to practice some exercise. And the answers of those, Your Turn, is at the end of each chapter. Okay, chapter 1 really is about introduction of statistics. Okay, the most important part of this chapter is level of measurements. And those are nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. Okay? Usually nominal and ordinal are qualitative data, and interval and ratio are quantitative data. Okay, let me try to explain you a little bit about this level of measurement. Nominal is a measurement that is used just for identification, like your name, the street where you live, your gender. Okay, those are identifications of yourself. Ordinal is also a name, but it has a certain order by itself. For example, the educational level, it is elementary or high school or college, master or doctorate. Or you can be the level on your college degrees, is either freshman, sophomore, junior and senior, okay? So those has an order by itself. Interval is a numeric measurement, and the difference between interval and ratio is the zero value. In ratio, zero really means empty. If I tell you I have no money in my checking account, it means that I have $0, okay? Whereas in interval, the zero doesn't mean empty. For example, if I tell you the temperature is 0 degrees, it doesn't mean that we don't have temperature, okay? It means that according to the scale, the degree is 0. Also an interval like the score on your test. If you have 0 in your test, it doesn't mean that you don't have any knowledge. It's just a number. So basically that's the level of measurement. So if I tell you, for example, your 913 number identification is a number, but it's not a number by itself. I mean, it doesn't have any numeric meaning. So your 913 number would be a nominal. Your credit score is interval. Your telephone number, okay, it's a number again, but it's just an identification of your phone number. So it's a nominal. The number of pets in your family is ratio. If you have 0 pets, it means that you don't have pets. The number of children that you have. Are you Georgia resident? Yes or no? Well, it's nominal because it identifies you as either Georgia or non-Georgian resident, and so on. So basically, that is the main thing about the level of measurements. Now, let's move to the population sample. from a population, we have a sample, or we draw a sample from that population, and from that population we are going to get statistics. And from the population we have parameters. Okay, what are those statistics? For example, X bar is the mean, S is the standard deviation, S squared is the variance. For the parameters, for the population parameters, we are going to use Greek letters. This is mu, this is the mean. Sigma is the standard deviation. Sigma squared is the variance. For the population, we use capital N. For the sample, we use lowercase n. So, and this is important because the purpose of sampling is very important. We have to draw a representative sample from the population, and in order to make inferences about the population parameters, we need to have the statistics of the samples in order to make inferences. For statistics, we have two main branches: descriptive statistics and inferential statistics. In descriptive statistics, the only thing that you do is describe what your data is telling you. For example, 45% of my students are female. 33% of my customers prefer diet beverages. I don't know, whatever it is. My checking account has a balance of $33. Okay? So those are descriptive. You are describing what the data is telling you. In inferential statistics, and that is why it's so it is so important, the population sample stuff. In inferential statistics, you are going to try to infer the value of the parameters based on your statistics. And probably it's the most important part of statistics when you try to predict what's happening with the overall population. What else? I mean, the sources of the data, either primary or secondary data. Primary is when you collect the data. Secondary data is when someone else collects the data for you. Either they sell it to you, or they give it to you, or whatever. The problem with secondary data is that you don't know how the data was gathered. In primary data, you usually use either direct observations or surveys or experiments or focus groups or something like that. The type of data, we either have a cross-sectional or time series. In cross-sectional, you gather the data in a time slot, and then you do the statistics with that particular data. In time series is like a trend of your data, how your data is moving through time, like the exchange rate between the dollar and the euro, something like that. So you measure the trend of your data. Probably those are the things that are more important in chapter 1. For chapter 2, guys, you only need to know how to present your data, and that chapter 2 is part of the descriptive statistics, because you are trying to present your data the better way. Please remember that when you present a chart, probably it's easier to identify the trends and the overall picture of everything. However, if you present your data using charts, your data is in numbers. So it really depends on your audience which one of the techniques you are going to use. So chapter 2, I'm not going to cover chapter 2 in these videos. And basically, that's it. That's the end of chapter 1 and 2.